Boley astronauts, made in China. Here we've got a bunch out for comparisons along with my 6 or 7 Boley figures. They're a little bit bigger than usual. And I got out this Mark's Toys Giant Martian Landing figure to just sort of show what kind of scale they're in. Next to this here, it's equivalent from the Hing Fat oriented Space Bucket sets. And again, you can see how he's even larger than that. Next to it, there's this stick and camera guy. I thought it was stick and lunchbox for a while. Boley on the left, Hing Fat on the right, and what's suspected to actually be an original casting of the Space Bucket made in China astronaut guys from the early 70s, and you can see how their chest units are different. One is not just a copy of the other, and the chest unit of the two Hing Fat guys there on either side are different. The one on the left has a round fixture in the middle. The one on the right, who's now on the left, is square. Here's the rope and triangle guy with a Boley on the left and an unknown blue variant on the right that came out of Europe. And sitting next to them are pilot driver figures. Boley again on the left, and a believed to be 1980s, mid-80s casting of the Space Bucket astronaut there in white, which is actually somewhat hard to find. You usually only see them in gray. And then, of course, these two here lost to the effects of gravity. And I picked this one to show how the backpacks on some of them disassemble. And our markings on the back of this one. There you go. Boley, made in China, 1989. I believe they're all marked the same. So look in his backpack. Pegs on very simply. And the knock over there signals me that it's time to pull everything out of here but the Boleys, so we can look at them as individual discrete forms and styles. I like how the backpacks come off. I believe that they first appeared in a Space Garage kind of toy set, and the reason why this guy's on his back isn't necessarily that he's in orbit, but he's working on the lunar module. Here's a Lunar Rover from the Space Bucket set, and you can see that he doesn't quite fit. And indeed, Boley redesigned their Lunar Rover, or designed their own Lunar Rover, which appears similar to this, but obviously has more clearance under the bottom so the guy can get under it. I've also seen them sold without the Space Garage accoutrements, and these came in the same lot that all of my most, not all, but most of my Space Bucket space junk came in, and I'm fascinated by the form. All made in China here. None of this is of a U.S. design. Nothing derived from Marx. Nothing derived from the Palmer or Archer schools. These are unique to China, and yet similar to what we became more familiar with as Space Bucket stuff in the 70s and 80s. And then I guess these took over for a while. Boley, I believe they went out of business, or certainly discontinued their Space Garage set. It's a collector's item, believe it or not. And individually, the astronauts will fetch a premium. They're certainly nicer than the Space Bucket guys, but I feel that they're related, and not just because they share similar poses or were made in China. These are sort of like the evolution of what the Space Bucket things were supposed to be, although in the end it's still cheaper to make them, and Hing Fat's still churning the stuff out over there in China. And I'd be interested in knowing how these relate to it, or if they just don't at all, and it was simply another Chinese company sensing an interest in making space toys, and this time in relation to the space shuttle and its popularity at the time.